All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to video one of what promises to be somewhere between, I don't know, 1 and 30 videos. I am on my way to work right now, and I wanted to share with you something, because over the course of the next 30 days, I'm going to be answering 30 questions. And you may be wondering, okay, well, that's great, Blue. What questions are you going to be answering? Well, and here's the thing, as I try to navigate my way through traffic. I'm going to be answering questions about live events, whether it's virtual events, in-person events, or what I would call the dreaded hybrid event. First question I'm going to be answering is, with in-person events coming back as the world slowly comes back to normal, are virtual events dead? And I think this is probably a pretty obvious question, but before I get to that, let me tell you how you can ask me questions over the course of the next 30 days. It's pretty easy. You go on over to askblueanything.com. There's a form on that webpage that I have built with my very own hands and a service because, well, let's face it, I don't know how to code. But every time you ask a question, that fills out a Google Sheet for me that I am then going to answer over the course of these next 30 days on my daily one wheel to work. Now, some days I'm going to be on a one wheel. Some days, over the course of the next couple of weeks, over the next month or so, I'm going to be in a car. Sometimes I'm going to be in a plane. But regardless, every day I'm going to be answering one question from you about events. And I'm really excited about it, It's one of those things that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. It's one of those things that a lot of people ask us questions about on a regular basis. And I thought, enough's enough. Let's actually get her done. All right, so first question. And again, I'm on the one wheel, so I apologize for the wind, the unsteady hand, and, anything else that goes wrong in this particular video. So let's see, that first question, are virtual events dead now that in-person events are coming back? And here's the answer to that question. No, emphatically, absolutely not. And here's how I know. We have, over the course of the last couple of years, essentially transitioned our company, Sage Event Management. That's a company that I run with my wife and business partner by the name of Barry Baumgardner. In many ways, over the course of the last 2 years, has completely reinvented the event industry, and in some ways, kept it alive. That may sound a little egotistical, that may sound a little big-headed, but I really believe it's true, not just because of the things that I have seen, but because of things that people have told us. But one of the things that happened, which was really, really cool, and none of us really expected it, is that virtual events were actually far more profitable and more impactful than in-person events. And there's a couple reasons for that. One of the two reasons for that has to do with impact. With a virtual event, you just have access to more people. A friend of mine often says when you go with an in-person event as opposed to a virtual event, you're essentially eliminating 99.9% of your audience because, now everybody has to get on a plane. When you go in person, now all of a sudden people have a really big decision to make. Not only are they deciding whether or not to come to your event and spend the time and the travel from a time perspective, but they're also thinking about it from a money perspective, and not just your ticket price. They're also thinking about it from all the other things that they have to do. They gotta get on a plane, they gotta stay in a hotel, they gotta use Uber. All of these things are more expensive, and interestingly, I'm just gonna call it post-pandemic, everything is more expensive these days, which is wild and crazy, right? It's more expensive, especially with hotels. You're actually getting less service. But even with airlines these days, you're still getting less service. So it's an interesting conundrum. Do I want to pay more and get less for my travel? Or do I want to go to the event that has a virtual option, or perhaps is just simply virtual? And when you do that, you expand your reach. As a result of expanding your reach, you get to expand your impact. And as a result of expanding your impact, you also expand your revenue and your income. So you know, short answer, virtual events are not dead. An emphatic no, absolutely not, they're not dead. And not only that, but right now, here in South Carolina, on this one wheel, I'm on my way to our studio, to our office, which happens to have a studio above it, because we are hosting a virtual event today. It actually starts tomorrow for a client for well over 2,000 people. And you know what's interesting about this particular client is, for the most part, they have an older audience, an audience that you would think, yes, they really want to get back in person. But the reality is, they don't. They're more than happy to do virtual. And not only that, they're going to have an amazing experience. So with that, that's question number one. I may have drawn it out a little bit long, you know, because the reality is, the answer quite simply is no, they're not dead, they're here to stay. But I wanted to give you a little bit of context as to why I believe that, and why I think they're here to stay, and why you should be considering virtual for your next or your first live event. All right, so with that, I'm almost at the office. Really excited to get there. Traffic's been a little bit busy today, but this has been fun. I hope you're enjoying it. Head on over to askblueanything.com, and maybe your question will be the question that I answer tomorrow. Bye for now.